Hey, this is Mitch with Encapsulations Down Under, and today we're talking crawl space French drains. Stay tuned. If you're having water in your crawl space, then you probably called a crawl space contractor and they pitched you a crawl space French drain. I'm here to help you tell you what a French drain is, label some of the components of each, and why our system's better. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how a typical crawl space French drain is installed. A contractor is going to suggest a 4-inch black corrugated, which means it's ribbed, and slotted pipe. As you can see, this is 4 slots in every valley, which is every low spot of the pipe. This is available at any big box store. Now we're going to talk about how this pipe is installed in a crawl space and how there are some disadvantages of it that we are not a fan of. So here we have a trench that is envisioned in your crawl space. This goes all the way around the perimeter of your entire crawl space. To install this pipe, you actually cannot place this pipe just directly in the trench because this clay would actually plug a lot of these slots. So what has to be done is actually a gravel. I'm using a white gravel just for demonstration purposes to make it so you can see the difference. Then the gravel would be smoothed out, and then a pipe would be fitted on top of it. This is a must with this style system because, like I said, it would clog if you didn't do this. Once the pipe is installed, then you're going to actually put more gravel on top. Now I've showed you how that pipe is installed by most contractors, I'm going to show you our system and how it's better. Here you have a 4-inch corrugated, ribbed, perforated pipe. This is called an 8-slot pipe. As you can see, there's actually 8 slots in every low spot of this pipe. This is going to be twice as many slots as the pipe over here. And look at the size of these slots. They are so much larger than the slits in that pipe. This is going to take on water much more efficiently and much more quicker, getting your crawl space drier faster. Now that I've showed you the differences in the pipes, I'm actually going to show you the difference in installation technique and how we feel ours is better. The first, if we pan over here, is going to be this gravel over time can easily begin to migrate with the soil, and that will actually clog the system potentially and prematurely cause the system to fail. Now that we've talked about how the gravel and the soil can actually begin to mitigate together or migrate together and clog our system prematurely, we're going to show you what we're going to do about it. This is a DOTC approved filter fabric. It's non-woven and it will actually filter out the heavy clay or the soil and prevent it from getting into our system and causing it to clog prematurely. So now I'm going to show you how our filter fabric's installed. We actually line the entire trench in this filter fabric. What this does is a couple things. It first acts as a soil separator, which prevents any gravel from migrating with the soils and then potentially clogging the system prematurely. The second thing it does is it lets us put our pipe directly on the ground. Why does that matter? Well, if you pan over here, you're going to see 1 to 2 inches of gravel. So that means water has to fill up at least 2 inches of the trench before it even hits the pipe and really gets moving. If you look at our system, it's actually going to get moving as quick as possible because we then take the gravel and we pour it directly over the entire system like here. The system is then cut appropriately and left open so any water from above can actually flow into this very quickly. But there's no clay above. We leave it wide open so water can get to our pipe as soon as possible. So now I've covered why our system is better by having larger slots, having twice as many more slots in the pipe, and actually containing our system with a soil separator and filter fabric, which is going to prevent any of this from potentially getting clogged prematurely. We are now going to say, why does all this matter? Well, if you have water coming into your crawl space, you want to get moving as quick as possible. So I'm actually going to fill these trenches with water, and I'm going to show you what could happen. Water typically is not going to be overflowing from above, but more below due to hydrostatic pressure with these systems. So this isn't a perfect representation, but it's as close as we can get. So if you can see there, I just put approximately half this in here, and you can see the bed of gravel already being filled with just water, and the water hasn't even really hit the pipe a ton yet. Versus if I take our system and fill it, looks like our pipe's already filling with water halfway. So granted, there may have been more dirt in one side versus the other, but it's the principle and you get the point. This has to hold water in its trench. This is going to move as much water as it can and fill the pipe a lot quicker due to the fact of it doesn't have to be rested on a bed of gravel. So we have bigger slots, we have more slots, we're containing our system so it doesn't clog prematurely. This is going to try to make this crawl space French drain last as long as we can, and that's what we want to do for you. Here you can actually see the water levels are equal in each tank, but there is much more water in the pipe on the left compared to the right due to the bed of gravel that's containing all the water in the right before it even hits the pipe. Here is a side shot of the black corrugated pipe, and actually if you look right here you can see where the soil roughly was level is now could easily merge with this over time. It's not a direct representation, but this is just a good example of what it would be doing over time and potentially clogging the system. Thus, while over here it may look like it's doing that, it's enabled to clog because of the filter fabric, as you can see. So even with all these levels and mounds, the dirt has no way of getting into the fabric and actually clogging the system or the rock itself. So today we've covered how a French drain is installed inside the crawl space the typical way and how we install our system, which we believe is much better. But I want to talk about one other system that is installed. That is the Easy Flow. An Easy Flow is basically a black corrugated pipe just like this one with foam peanuts wrapped around it and contained. They call it a gravelous system. Gravelous because they do not have to install it with any rock because the foam peanuts act as what's called an aggregate, which basically makes it so the water can flow much easier. This system actually has been known to float up because of its buoyancy from the foam type peanuts installed in the system. So unless they're putting at least 6 to 8 inches of rock or clay on it, it is not a very good system and could potentially prematurely fail due to its ability to float up. If you're going to be putting that type of work into it, why don't you just go with a system like this that you know you can trust and last as long as possible. At Encapsulations Down Under, we want to be the best crawl space contractor, and to do that, you have to have the best, and we believe we have that here. Our phone number is 574-310-5976. Give us a call if you have any waterproofing crawl space issues in your house. Take care.